Hey guys, tonight we're going to talk about a city that was less a place and more an idea, a military experiment forged in iron and blood. We're going to explore the world of ancient Sparta, but not the shiny bronze-plated heroic version you see in the movies. We're going to crawl into the cradle of a Spartan life right from the very beginning. Imagine a world where your worth isn't measured by how loved you are, but by how physically perfect you are. A world where your first welcome is not a gentle embrace but a harsh examination. You're about to be born, but you have no name, no parents. In the traditional sense, only a purpose to serve the state. Tonight, we're going to walk you through the life of a Spartan from the moment you take your very first trembling breath. And as always, a little heads up based on their criteria, you probably wouldn't have survived the first day. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. If you're here for the first time, let me know where you are and what time it is for you in the comments. I love to see how far these whispers travel across the globe. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You don't get a choice. Not a single one. Not even to be born. The moment you emerge wet and crying into the cool Spartan air, you are not yours. You are the city's. The first touch you feel isn't a mother's hand, but the calloused fingers of an elder. They lift you, turning you over their eyes, scrutinizing every inch of your tiny new body. Your toes, your fingers, the curve of your spine. They check for any imperfection, any hint of a weakness that might one day compromise the phalanx. It's an unnerving thought, isn't it? To be judged on your physical form before you've even been given a name. Before you've had a chance to breathe the air properly. This is the common historical fact. The brutal initial inspection of all newborns by the Council of Elders, the Jerusha. They are looking for a crack in the stone, a flaw in the marble. If you pass, you are deemed worthy to live. If you fail, well, let's just say you don't get a second chance. The stories tell us that you were carried away and left at the foot of Mount Taygetus to be reclaimed by nature or maybe by the gods. It's a sobering reality to face the idea that you are a resource to be cultivated, not a child to be nurtured. The elders weigh your potential, and only if you are found to be a healthy and strong addition to the state are you handed back to your mother, though even she knows you are only a temporary charge. The first 7 years are the only ones you'll spend in a home. And even then, it's not a place of soft blankets and gentle hugs. The training begins almost immediately. Your mother, your nurse. They are also part of the machine. They don't indulge your cries. They teach you to be stoic, to endure pain without whimpering. You learn not to be afraid of the dark, not to be picky about your food, and not to cry when you're hurt. You are not praised for your cleverness or your kindness, but for your resilience. Your first words might be a demand, but they're quickly met with a cold silence that teaches you to be quiet. You're told you are special, but special in the sense that a prize stallion is special, valuable for its strength and speed, not for its personality. The cradle itself is a small, unpadded box, and your clothes are little more than rags. The goal is to harden you, to make you immune to the minor discomforts of life. Imagine for a moment how different this is from the world you know. No one rushing to comfort you, no lullabies to ease your fears. Just the stark reality of survival whispered into your tiny ears. You don't get to be a kid, not in the way we understand it. You are a fledgling warrior, a tiny unfeathered bird being pushed from the nest long before you are ready to fly. Life at home is a constant low-level stress. You are watched always. Every one of your actions is a measure of your future worth. The community is your extended family, and every member is a scout, a spy reporting on the progress of the young. This is a fascinating, little-known detail. About Spartan childhood, the nurses known as Trophius were renowned across the Greek world for their strictness and effectiveness. Wealthy Athenian families would actually pay a premium to have a Spartan nurse raise their children, hoping to instill some of that famous Spartan discipline. Imagine that. The same people who fought against the Spartans would hire them to raise their kids. It's a bit like a modern-day rivalry where your favorite sports team's coach is so good, you hire them to train your own kid on the side. The Spartan nurses had a reputation for being the best in the business because they didn't spoil the child. They didn't coddle them. They were preparing them for a life of hardship, so that when the real hardship came, it wouldn't break them. The training was a form of inoculation, a small dose of pain to build up an immunity to the agony of combat. You are being immunized against softness, against the very human need for comfort and security. As the years pass, you grow stronger, but also colder. The world around you is simple and stark. You don't have many toys. You don't have many books. The stories you're told aren't about princes and princesses, but about heroes and battles. The songs you hear are war chants. The games you play are brutal simulations of combat. You learn to wrestle, to run, to throw a spear made of a sharpened stick. You are part of a group, a small pack of future warriors, and your individuality begins to fade. It is not celebrated. It is suppressed. The emphasis is always on the group, on the collective. The one is nothing, the many are everything. This is a tough lesson to learn for a kid, but it's drilled into you from the moment you can walk. The idea of personal achievement is replaced by the concept of communal victory. You are a single piece in a giant puzzle, and if you don't fit perfectly, you'll be discarded. It's a ruthless, efficient, and horrifyingly effective system. And then the day comes. Your 7th birthday. It is not a celebration, it is a transition. The only thing that marks the day is the finality of it. The moment you turn 7, you are taken from your home. This is the last time you'll sleep under a roof that belongs to your family. The last time you'll be surrounded by the familiar scents and sounds of your childhood home, however harsh they may be. You are not given a choice or a farewell. A group of older boys who have already gone through this process come to collect you. They are stern and silent. They are no longer boys, they are Spartans in training. They lead you away, and you are not allowed to look back. Looking back is a sign of weakness of attachment, and attachment is forbidden. You are now the property of the state. You belong to the agoge, the Spartan training system. You are a recruit. A fresh recruit, a tiny fish in a very big, very dangerous pond. The first place you go is not a fancy barracks. It's a communal dormitory, a single vast, unheated room, where you will live with all the other boys your age. There are no beds, only a mat on the floor made of reeds pulled from the river, and later from thistles, a detail designed to make you resilient to the cold and discomfort. You are stripped of the few clothes you have and given a single piece of red cloth, a cloak, which will be your only possession for the next 6 years. You'll wear this cloak in all seasons and all weather. In the brutal heat of summer and the freezing cold of winter, it is all you have. There are no shoes. You are barefoot. The purpose, to make your feet hard and tough so you can run over any terrain without pain. It's a simple yet brutal logic. Why protect yourself from discomfort when you can simply learn to endure it? Your hair, which has grown long, is shaved completely. Your head is bare, a testament to your new blank slate identity. You no longer have a name. You are a number, a body, a unit. Your name will be earned, but not with words. It will be earned with actions, with pain, with endurance. This isn't just about physical training, it's about a total and complete psychological transformation. The goal is to break you down, to strip away everything you think you are and rebuild you as something else entirely. You are no longer little Leonidas or young Pericles. You are just boy. You are one of many. Your personality is a liability. Your individuality is a weakness. The only thing that matters is your ability to function as part of a unit. You are a weapon in the making, and like any good weapon, you must be uniform and reliable. The men who run the agoge are not your teachers in the way we think of them. They are your tormentors. The older boys, the Irenes, are your immediate superiors. They are your drill sergeants, and they have complete authority over you. They can punish you for any reason or no reason at all. They are encouraged to be harsh, to test your limits. The famous tale of the Spartan boy who stole a fox to eat but let it gnaw at his insides rather than reveal his theft is not a story of heroism. It is a story of what you are expected to do, what you must do. You are taught that the crime is not in stealing but in getting caught. This is a very interesting point of view. It's not about morality, it's about skill. If you are hungry, you can steal as long as you are stealthy enough to not get caught. The discipline is not about right and wrong, but about success and failure. The food is another brutal lesson. You are given a minimal ration, a single bowl of something called melas zomos, or black broth. It is a thick, dark, disgusting stew made from pork and blood with vinegar and salt. It is famously horrible. The story goes that a man from another Greek city-state once tried it and said, "Now I understand why Spartans do not fear death." It is a punishment, not a meal. The goal is to make you perpetually hungry, always on the edge of starvation. Why? Because a hungry man is a motivated man. A hungry man is a dangerous man. You are constantly in a state of discomfort, and that discomfort is meant to be your normal. It's a way of teaching you that you can function, you can fight. You can win even when your body is telling you to stop. It's a form of academic debate among historians as to whether the black broth was truly as bad as it was made out to be, or if the stories were embellished for dramatic effect. Was it a real-world punishment or a psychological tool? We can't know for sure, but the stories themselves are a testament to its legend. Your day begins before dawn. You are woken by a shrill whistle or perhaps a sharp kick. There is no gentle wake-up call, no slow easing into the day. You are up and you are immediately running. Running for miles in the dark through the cold air. You run until your legs ache, until your lungs burn. The air in your lungs feels like shards of glass, but you do not stop. Stopping is not an option. You are running with the pack, and if you fall behind, you are left behind. The older boys of the Irenes are running with you, and they are always watching. They are always ready to correct you, to push you, to make sure you keep up. This is a simple, relentless training. It is not about speed, it is about endurance. It is about making your body a machine, a simple, unbreakable tool that does exactly what it is told, no matter the protest from your muscles or your mind. You are taught to fight with your fists, to grapple, to bite. You learn to use your hands as weapons to break bones, to dislocate joints. The fighting is not a game, it is a way of life. You are constantly fighting for dominance within the group, and these fights are not about ego. They are about survival. They are about establishing a pecking order. You learn to be aggressive, to strike first, to finish your opponent quickly and brutally. The goal is to make you into an efficient killing machine. There is no chivalry, no honor in these fights. There's only a winner and a loser. And in a society where weakness is not tolerated, being a loser is not an option. After a long day of training, you are given a short rest before being sent on a mission. These missions are not about warfare. They are about learning stealth. You are sent to steal food from the farms of the Helots, the serfs who work the land for the Spartans. You must be silent. You must be invisible. You must not get caught. If you do get caught, you are not praised for your honesty. You are whipped not for stealing, but for being bad at it. It's a little bit like that game you play as a kid where you try to sneak a cookie from the cookie jar without your mom hearing you. Except in this version, the punishment for getting caught is not a scolding, but a public flogging. It's a brutal way to teach a simple lesson. Only the strong and the cunning survive. The Spartans were also famous for their laconic wit, their short, pithy way of speaking. You're taught this too. You don't get to waste words. Words are a luxury you cannot afford. Every statement you make must be to the point, direct and free of any flowery language. This is another part of the training. It's a way of making you into a more efficient being, a person who thinks quickly and communicates clearly. It's a little bit like the modern-day Twitter, where you have to fit all your thoughts into a very small number of characters. Except in this case, the punishment for using too many words is a smack, not just a character limit. It's a way of showing you that every single action, every single thought must be efficient and to the point. And so you endure. You run. You fight. You steal. You go to sleep hungry and wake up colder. You are a small, unformed piece of clay, and the agoge is molding you. It is shaping you into a warrior, a defender of the state, a protector of the people. Your childhood, your family, your identity, all of it is a distant memory. You no longer think of the home you came from. You no longer think of the mother who bore you. You only think of the pack, the group, the collective. You are a part of a larger whole, and your purpose is to serve that whole. You are a Spartan in the making. And this is only the beginning. The next 7 years from age 14 to 21 will be even more brutal. The lessons will be harder, the punishments more severe. But for now you rest. You lay on your mat of reeds, your body aching, your stomach empty, and you sleep. Because tomorrow the agoge will demand even more. The whistle screams through the pre-dawn darkness. Not a gentle sound, but a tearing one, a sound designed to jolt you from whatever flimsy comfort your body managed to find on the reed mat. Your eyes snap open the cold air, hitting your bare skin, a shock that steals any lingering warmth from your sleep. There's no time to think, no time to stretch. You are one of many bodies all scrambling to get on your feet. There are no individual names called out. The call is for the group, the agila, the pack. The word itself in its original Greek means a herd of cattle or a flock of goats. It's not a compliment, it's a definition. You are not a person, you are a unit. This is the common historical fact about the agoge. From the moment you turn 7, you are placed into one of these age-based packs and your loyalty shifts from your family to your fellow recruits. You stumble outside into the crisp Spartan morning, the ground cold and hard beneath your feet. There's a constant low murmur of groans and grunts, but no one dares to speak. Your group, the boys a year or two older and a few a year or two younger, stand in a loose formation. Your Aaron, the older boy in charge, eyes you all with a cold, detached stare. He's maybe 20 years old, but his eyes are ancient. He is your master now, your teacher, your disciplinarian. He is the alpha wolf in your new pack, and every single one of you knows it. The first order is always the same run. Not a jog, not a casual pace. It's a full-on sprint, and you're not running to get anywhere. You're running to hurt. Your lungs burn within minutes. The muscles in your legs scream. Your feet still soft and uncalloused from your short time at home ache with every step. You don't get a water break. You don't get a motivational speech. You get silence punctuated by the labored breathing of the boys around you and the occasional sharp crack of a lash on someone who falls behind. This is the purpose of the pack. You learn to endure not for yourself, but for the group. If one of you is weak, the entire pack is punished. The Aaron isn't going to let one boy's failure jeopardize the strength of the whole. So you push, and you push not because you want to, but because the boy running next to you is counting on you and you are counting on him. You learn to read the expressions on your comrades' faces, the tightening of a jaw, the clenching of a fist. These are the only words of encouragement you get. You are forging a bond that is stronger than family, stronger than friendship. It is the bond of shared suffering. It's a very strange kind of trust, isn't it? You can't trust them not to let you get a black eye in a fight, but you can trust them to run until their legs give out so you don't have to get whipped. It's a loyalty built on blood and tears, a silent promise to suffer together. The days are a blur of continuous motion. After the morning run, there are lessons, but they aren't about arithmetic or poetry. They are about obedience and fighting. The lessons are taught with the stick. You learn to stand at attention motionless for what seems like hours. You learn to respond to orders instantly without hesitation. You learn to fight not with technique at first, but with pure aggression. You are pitted against another boy, and the Aaron watches his face impassive. You punch, you kick, you bite, and you scratch. There are no rules. This is not a sport. This is survival. The fighting is raw, ugly, and brutal. The goal is to make you uncomfortable with the idea of losing, to make the thought of defeat a form of physical pain. You learn quickly that it's better to be the one on top, the one who wins. The loser gets nothing but contempt from his comrades and a beating from the iron. The nights are no easier than the days. You sleep on your prickly bed of thistles and you're hungry all the time. Your stomach is a hollow pit, a constant gnawing reminder that you are not in control. You dream of food, of a simple loaf of bread, of a piece of cheese. You learn to ignore the hunger, or rather you learn to transform it into a different kind of energy, a coiled predatory energy. This is where the wolf part of your training really begins. The stealing isn't just for survival, it's a test of skill. You and your pack are sent out into the night, your mission, to raid the helots' gardens for vegetables or their farms for livestock. It's a terrifying, exhilarating game of cat and mouse. Your feet, which are now hard as stone, make no sound as you creep through the fields. You are a shadow. You are a ghost. You move silently, your eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of a patrol or a guard. The boys who succeed are the ones who are the most clever, the most daring. The ones who can slip in and out of a farm, undetected like a phantom in the night. The ones who come back with a chicken or a handful of root vegetables are hailed as heroes by their pack. This is the little-known detail that makes Spartan training so unique. The punishment for being caught stealing wasn't for the act of theft itself, but for being a terrible thief. You're not being taught morality. You're being taught a very specific, ruthless kind of competence. The Spartan elders aren't saying it's wrong to steal. They're saying, if you are going to steal, be so good at it that no one ever finds out. This is a mindset that is so foreign to our modern sensibilities, isn't it? It's the difference between a moral lesson and a lesson in pure, unadulterated effectiveness. It's almost like a twisted version of a team-building exercise, where instead of building a tower out of marshmallows, you're building a character forged from cunning and hunger. The fighting never really stops. Not just the formal combat training, but the constant, low-level scuffles within the pack. There is a hierarchy, and it's always in flux. A boy who was at the top one day might be at the bottom the next. All it takes is one moment of weakness. The older boys, the Irenes, actively encourage this. They don't break up the fights. They watch. They evaluate. They are looking for the boys who show the most potential, the most resilience, the most grit. It's a constant audition. It's a bit like a competitive sports team, but instead of trying to win a spot on the roster, you're trying to win the right not to be the target. The loser doesn't just lose the fight. He loses status. And in this brutal world, status is all you have. And what about the older men? The full-fledged warriors? They too are watching you. This is where we get into a rather tricky bit of history, and it's a point of academic debate among historians. The Spartan social structure had a unique relationship between older, respected warriors, the Erastes, and their young trainees, the Eromenos. These relationships were a form of mentorship, but they were also a core part of the agoge's social fabric. Older warriors would take on a boy as their protege, training him, guiding him, and fighting alongside him. The older man was responsible for the boy's success and his failures. Some historians argue that this was a purely platonic, mentorship-based relationship, a way to pass on knowledge and wisdom from one generation to the next. Others looking at the ancient sources argue that there was a deeper, more intimate relationship involved. The truth, as with most things in the ancient world, is probably a mix of both. What we do know is that a young boy's success was tied not only to his own performance, but also to the esteem of the older man who sponsored him. It was a formal system of mentorship, a kind of lifelong apprenticeship where you learned the art of war from a veteran. Your identity as an individual is gone. You are part of the pack, a single powerful entity. Your mind is no longer your own. It is a part of a larger mind, a collective consciousness of ruthless, hungry little predators. This is a very different kind of education than what we're used to. It's not about learning to read and write. It's not about memorizing dates and names. It's about learning how to exist in a world where every moment is a test and every test is life or death. The lessons are taught not in a classroom, but in the dirt under the punishing sun and in the freezing rain. Your books are the calloused hands of your Aaron, and your teacher is the cold, hard reality of hunger and pain. The day ends as it began. You are exhausted, your muscles are screaming, and your feet are raw and bleeding. You are given a small bowl of the black broth, and it is just as bad as it was the day before. You gulp it down because even this vile concoction is better than nothing. You are not given seconds, and you are not allowed to complain. You are sent back to the dormitory where you lie on your mat, your body aching but your mind sharper than ever. You are no longer just a boy. You are a wolf. You are part of a pack. You have learned your first lesson: you will never be alone again, but you will also never be free again. Your fate is intertwined with the fates of your comrades, and you are all now marching down the same brutal path, a path that will either make you into a warrior or break you into nothing. The sun has not yet risen, but the cold is already a living thing. It seeps into the cracks in the walls of the dormitory, it crawls over the rough reed mat you're lying on, and it settles into the marrow of your bones. Your only possession, the single coarse red cloak, is your shield against the world. You're not just wearing it. You're clutching it around you, trying to hold on to the last scraps of heat your body is producing. But it's not enough. Your bare feet, which have now been hardened by weeks of running on rough ground, are still cold. The world around you is an experiment in sensory deprivation, a deliberate stripping away of all comfort. This cold isn't a coincidence. It is a lesson, a painful, unforgiving, and relentless lesson in endurance. And then there's the hunger. The whistle screams and you're up. You're running in the dark again, your lungs burning with the cold air, but it's a different kind of burn than the one in your stomach. The hunger is a constant, a low, gnawing ache that never fully goes away. Your body has become a master of efficiency, burning every single calorie you consume just to keep you upright. You find yourself thinking about food constantly. Not fancy meals, not banquets, but just a single solid meal. The image of a simple loaf of bread becomes a recurring daydream. You find yourself watching the helots as they work in the fields, your eyes following the movements of their hands as they harvest vegetables. It's an almost involuntary reaction, a deep primal need that overrides every other thought. This is the common historical fact about the agoge. The boys were intentionally underfed. The goal was not just to train them to endure hardship, but to teach them to be resourceful. If you were hungry, you were expected to find your own food. This led to the stealth missions we talked about earlier, the late-night raids on the helot farms. But it also led to a much more fundamental change in you. Your body adapts. Your mind adapts. You learn to live with the hunger. It becomes a part of you. It's a bit like living with a really annoying house guest who never leaves, but you eventually just get so used to them being there that you almost forget what it was like to be alone. You learn to fight, to run, to think all while your stomach is screaming for food. It's a level of discipline that's hard for a modern person to even comprehend. The cold is just as much of a tool as the hunger. The little-known detail about the Spartan cloak, the phoenixes, is that its famous red color wasn't just for show. It served two practical purposes. First, it hid bloodstains so a soldier could continue fighting without his comrades being demoralized by the sight of his wounds. Second, and maybe more importantly in this stage of your training, it served as a brutal lesson in humility. It was your only piece of clothing, and it was a simple, coarse piece of cloth. No matter how wealthy your family was or how high your rank, you all wore the same thing. You are all equal in your suffering. The cold doesn't care if you're a prince or a peasant, it bites just the same. This constant, unyielding cold exposure in your flimsy cloak without shoes turns your body into a living fortress. You learn to ignore the shivers, to push past the numbness in your fingers and toes. Your body temperature might drop, but your resolve does not. Historians still debate whether the Spartans were truly more resilient to hunger and cold than other Greeks, or if their reputation was simply a result of their brutal training and propaganda. Did the stories of the black broth and the lack of clothing serve a purpose in history, making other city-states fear the Spartans even more? This is the kind of academic debate that fills the quiet halls of history. It makes you wonder, was the Spartan training truly an effective method of creating super soldiers? Or was it a form of ritualistic self-harm designed to create a legend? For you, however, there is no debate. It's simply your reality. You are cold, you are hungry, and you have to keep going. The day-to-day existence is a masterclass in pain management. You don't get to complain, you don't get to stop. The older boys, the Irenes, are watching constantly. They have been through this, and they know your limits better than you do. If you show a sign of weakness, you are not met with sympathy. You are met with a sharp jab from a stick or a cruel word. The goal is to make you understand that pain is not a barrier. Pain is a part of the landscape, like a tree or a rock. You do not stop because of a tree or a rock. You go around it, or you climb over it. So too with pain. You learn to function with it. You learn to ignore it. You learn to make it your friend. There's a strange kind of camaraderie that develops from this shared misery. You don't complain to each other, but you see the same haunted look in the eyes of the boy next to you. You see the thinness in his face, the chapped lips, the raw sores on his feet. You both know what the other is going through, and this unspoken understanding is a powerful bond. It's a very different kind of friendship than what we're used to. It's not built on shared jokes or secrets. It's built on a shared silence, a shared endurance. It's the kind of bond you forge in a fire where the things that don't burn away become fused together forever. You become a creature of pure, raw efficiency. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You don't think about what you want to eat. You think about what you might be able to steal to eat. You don't think about how cold you are. You think about how to keep moving to generate a little bit of body heat. Your mind becomes a weapon, a tool for survival, constantly calculating, constantly planning. You are a human computer running a single program: survive. This constant state of low-level discomfort also sharpens your senses. You can hear the slightest rustle of a leaf in the dark, the distant barking of a dog, the subtle change in the wind. These aren't just things you notice. They are things you must notice to stay alive, to find food, to avoid getting caught. And so you endure. You run until your legs feel like lead. You fight until your knuckles are raw. You go to sleep hungry and wake up colder. You are being refined like a raw ore into a perfect blade. Your body is becoming a tool and your mind is becoming its master. You are no longer just a boy, you are a Spartan. You are a machine of endurance. And this is just the beginning of the journey. The next stage will test your mind and your spirit even more than your body. The pain will not just be physical, it will be a lesson, it will be a tool. You have mastered the art of enduring. The cold no longer sends a jolt of panic through you. It's just there. The hunger is a constant companion, but it doesn't distract you. Now the training shifts. It's no longer about surviving discomfort. It's about conquering pain. It's about learning that pain is not a barrier to be avoided, but a tool to be used, a lesson to be learned, a test of your will. This is the stage of your life where you truly learn to master your own body, to bend your flesh to the command of your spirit. The most famous and infamous part of this training is the ritual at the altar of Artemis Orthia. This is the common historical fact that most people know about the agoge. You have heard the stories of it since you were a little boy. It is a ceremony that is not just a test but a public spectacle. The entire city of Sparta comes to watch. It's a bit like a modern-day extreme sports event, but with a much more ancient and brutal purpose. The altar is in the middle of a sacred grove, a simple stone structure dedicated to the goddess of the hunt. You are not a competitor. You are a participant in a ritual that has gone on for generations, a rite of passage that will define your very soul. The day of the ceremony arrives, and there's a palpable tension in the air. You stand with your pack, your face impassive, but your heart pounding a rhythm against your ribs. You are called forward, and you are led to the altar. There are other boys, your comrades, and you can see the same fear in their eyes that you feel, though none of you would ever admit it. The older men, the warriors of the city, are watching from the sidelines. The priests of Artemis are there, their faces severe and unyielding. You are told to stand perfectly still, your arms straight at your sides, your back to the altar. You are given a cheese, not to eat but to hold. This is a crucial detail. The goal is to take the cheese, but you must do so while being whipped, and if you drop the cheese, you fail. The whips are made of leather, and they sting like fire. The first crack across your back is a shock, a sudden blinding burst of pain that steals the air from your lungs. But you do not flinch. You do not cry out. You stand perfectly still, and you hold onto the cheese with a death grip. The whipping is relentless. It's not about punishment. It's about endurance. It's about showing the entire city that you can stand and take pain without a single sign of weakness. Your back begins to sting, then burn, then feel numb. You focus on the feeling of the cheese in your hands, the rough texture of the rind. You focus on the air in your lungs. You focus on the single purpose: to stand, to endure, to not fall. Historians still debate the true purpose of this ritual. Was it a simple act of a bloody rite of passage, or was it a more complex religious ceremony designed to prove a boy's devotion to the city? This is the kind of academic debate that makes you wonder. We know that the goddess Artemis Orthia was a deity associated with youthful transitions and fertility. Was the whipping a symbolic sacrifice to her, a way of shedding your childhood and being reborn as a man? Or was it simply a very effective way to train soldiers who would not break under torture? For you in that moment, there is no debate. There is only the pain and your relentless struggle to control it. The pain is a teacher. It teaches you to separate your mind from your body. You begin to feel the pain, not as a part of you, but as something external, something that is happening to your body but not to your soul. You are a silent observer of your own suffering. It's a very strange, almost Zen-like state. You learn to compartmentalize. The part of your mind that feels the pain is put in a small, sealed box, and the rest of your mind is free to focus on the task at hand, standing still holding the cheese and not making a sound. It's a bit like when you get a really bad sunburn and you eventually just learn to live with the constant low-level heat and sting. Except in this case, the sunburn is being applied with a whip. It's a brutal way to learn, but it is effective. You learn that pain is temporary, but the shame of failure is permanent. The purpose of this training is also to prepare you for the inevitable pain of warfare. The Spartans did not shy away from death or injury. They embraced it. They believed that a warrior who was afraid of pain was a warrior who was already defeated. They wanted their soldiers to be so accustomed to pain that a battlefield wound would not even make them flinch. You are being conditioned to accept a bayonet to the stomach with the same stoicism as you would accept a paper cut. It's a brutal but logical way to create soldiers who are fearless in the face of death. The little-known detail about this ceremony is that it wasn't just the priests who were doing the whipping. The young men who were a part of the agoge a few years older than you were also a part of the ritual. They would form a gauntlet, a line, and each of them would take a turn whipping you as you ran by. This was a way of reinforcing the social hierarchy and the chain of command. The boy who was your superior in the agoge was also the one who was allowed to inflict pain on you. It was a way of showing you that the authority of your superiors was absolute and that their judgment was final. It was a cruel lesson in humility, a reminder that you were a single piece in a much larger machine. The whole thing feels a little bit like a theatrical performance, doesn't it? A play where the actors are actually suffering and the audience is watching not to be entertained, but to be inspired. You are a symbol, a living representation of what it means to be a Spartan. Your ability to endure pain without a single sign of weakness is a source of pride for the entire city. And when it's over and you walk away from the altar, your back is raw and bleeding, but your spirit is stronger than it has ever been. You have survived. You have passed the test. And you have learned a lesson that will stay with you for the rest of your life. Pain is not a weakness. Pain is a tool. And you have mastered it. You have mastered pain. You have learned to take a beating without flinching, to endure a beating without a sound. Now that hard-won control must be applied to a different kind of task. The goal is no longer just endurance. The goal is cunning. The goal is survival, not through brute force, but through stealth. This is the part of your training where the wolf you've been becoming truly learns to hunt. You are not given enough food to survive, and you are not expected to starve. You are expected to get food. The only rule is do not get caught. Well, the nights become your new classroom. The lessons are taught in the dark under the stars with the only textbook being the rustle of leaves and the distant bark of a dog. You are sent out with a small group of your comrades, your pack on missions to steal food. Your targets are the farms of the helots, the serfs who work the land for the Spartan state. This is a crucial element of the Spartan system. The helots are the backbone of the economy, but they are also a constant simmering threat, a population that outnumbers the Spartans by a huge margin. The stealing missions are not just about food, they are about keeping the helots in a state of terror and obedience. This is the common historical fact that defines this phase of your training. The Spartan boys were deliberately underfed to train them to be resourceful and stealthy. The crime in the eyes of the Spartans was not the theft itself, but the act of being caught. This is a very strange moral code, isn't it? A bit like a parent telling their kid it's okay to sneak a cookie from the jar as long as they don't get caught. Except in your case, the cookie is a chicken, and the punishment for getting caught is not a scolding, but a brutal public flogging. It is a way of saying the world is a dangerous place. Don't be a victim. Be a predator. The missions are not simple. The helots, however downtrodden, are not fools. They know what the Spartan boys are doing. They have their own dogs, their own simple traps, their own ways of knowing when something is wrong. You and your pack learn to move with an almost supernatural silence. Your bare feet, now hardened from years of running, make no sound on the dirt path. You learn to breathe quietly to make your clothes rustle as little as possible. You learn to listen to the sounds of the night to distinguish the sound of a cricket from the sound of a snapping twig. You are no longer just running in the dark. You are blending with it. You are becoming a part of the darkness itself. This is where the psychological training from the previous phases comes in handy. Your mastery of pain means that you can endure a thorn in your foot or a scratch from a branch without a sound. Your enduring hunger gives you a motive to risk your life. Your pack mentality gives you a silent, unspoken trust in your comrades. You learn to communicate with your eyes with the slightest gesture of your hand. It's a bit like a covert operations team in a movie, except you're not carrying night vision goggles or sophisticated weapons. You're carrying only your wits and the cold emptiness in your stomach. It's a very high-stakes game of hide-and-seek. The little-known detail about this training is how brutally the failures were punished. If you were caught, you were not just whipped. You were whipped to the point of collapse, a public humiliation that was meant to be a lesson for not only you, but for every other boy who watched. The whipping was a performance, a public shaming that said, "This is what happens when you are not good enough." It wasn't about teaching you a lesson. It was about teaching everyone a lesson. This is why the fox story is so famous. The boy who stole the fox and hid it under his tunic and let it gnaw at his insides rather than reveal his theft wasn't just a hero. He was the perfect Spartan. He understood that the pain of the fox gnawing at his stomach was nothing compared to the shame of being caught. Historians still debate whether the Spartan training was a primary cause of the frequent Helot rebellions, or if it was simply a tool to control a pre-existing threat. The stealing missions, in a very real sense, were a form of terror, a way of reminding the Helots that they were never safe, and that their masters were constantly watching. This is the academic debate that still rages on. Were the Spartans simply brilliant military strategists, or were they a society living in a state of perpetual fear, using their young boys to keep a restive population under control? You as a boy in the agoge don't care about these debates. You only care about getting a chicken and not getting caught. The psychological impact of these missions is profound. You learn to be cunning, but also to be ruthless. You are stealing from people who have very little, and you are doing so without a single thought of morality. The only thing that matters is the mission. You learn to see other people not as human beings with families and feelings, but as obstacles to be overcome. The Helots are just targets, and their farms are just resources to be exploited. This is the final piece of the puzzle in your transformation. You are no longer just physically tough. You are psychologically detached. You are capable of doing what is necessary, no matter how brutal, without a second thought. You return from your missions, your hands and knees scraped and dirty, but your spirit hardened. You may have a stolen chicken clutched in your hand, or maybe just a few wild onions. It doesn't matter what you get as long as you get something. You are a successful hunter. You are a successful thief. You have not just survived, you have thrived. The lesson is learned. Survival is not about strength. It is about cleverness. It is about skill. It is about a willingness to do what others are not. You are a wolf and you have learned to hunt. You've learned to be a ghost in the night, a wolf who can endure pain and hunger. You have mastered yourself. Now the lessons shift from survival to destruction. The training moves beyond mere endurance and cunning. It is now about the art of combat. You are no longer just a boy. You are a tool, and you are being taught to use yourself as a weapon. This is the stage of your life where your hands, which once held a piece of cheese at an altar, now learn to hold a spear and a shield. The first weapons you handle are crude: a heavy stick to mimic a sword, a slab of wood to serve as a shield. The purpose is not to teach you how to be a hero, but how to be a professional. You are taught to kill with as little effort and as much efficiency as possible. The movements are not graceful, they are brutal and direct. You are taught to thrust with your spear, not to swing it, to use your shield as an extension of your body, a wall of wood and bronze. The fighting is not a contest. It is a formula, an equation where the only answer is the death of your opponent. This is the central purpose of your life, to become a piece of the phalanx. This is the common historical fact that defines Spartan warfare. The phalanx is not a group of soldiers. It is a single impenetrable entity, a wall of shields and spears. It is a living, breathing machine, and every single one of you is a gear in that machine. You learn to march in perfect unison, your feet hitting the ground, in a rhythmic, terrifying beat. You learn to move your shield in perfect coordination with the man next to you, so that there is not a single gap in the wall. You are no longer an individual. You are a single powerful unit, a force of nature. The phalanx is a testament to the idea that the collective is stronger than the individual. When you stand in the formation, you are not fighting for yourself. You are fighting for the man to your left and the man to your right. You are his shield, and he is yours. Your training is so relentless and so specific that you can execute the movements of the phalanx in your sleep. You learn to maneuver in tight spaces, to turn as one, to advance and retreat without a single break in the line. The training is so repetitive that it becomes a kind of muscle memory, a deeply ingrained instinct. Your mind is no longer thinking, it is simply executing. It's a bit like learning a dance, but a very deadly and very precise one. The little-known detail about the Spartan phalanx is that they marched into battle to the sound of pipes. This is not a detail you would expect. You would expect the Spartans to march to a drum beat that would incite them to a frenzy, but they marched to a steady rhythmic melody. The purpose was to keep the soldiers in perfect time, to prevent them from breaking the line, from rushing ahead in their excitement, or falling behind in their fear. It was a way of controlling the chaos of battle, a way of ensuring that the formation remained a single unbreakable unit. It's a subtle but brilliant detail, a testament to the Spartan genius for control. Historians still debate whether the phalanx was a perfect fighting machine or if it was a rigid, inflexible formation that could be outmaneuvered by a more agile force. This is the kind of academic debate that fills the quiet halls of history. Was the Spartan phalanx an unstoppable force, a wall of spears that could break any enemy? Or was it a relic of an older time of fighting style that would eventually be made obsolete by more modern and fluid tactics? For you, there is no debate. You only know the feeling of the man next to you, the rhythmic pounding of feet, the solid weight of your shield, and the cold, unblinking focus of your mind. You are a part of a legend, and you are being trained to be unbeatable. Your training now also involves duels, but these are not the brawls of your earlier days. These are tactical, disciplined contests. You are pitted against other boys, and your goal is not just to win, but to show your mastery of the weapons and your control over your emotions. You are taught to read your opponent's eyes, to anticipate his moves. You learn to bait him to feint, to use his own aggression against him. This is where your cunning from the stealing missions is put to the test. A battlefield is not a place for blunt force. It is a place for cleverness, and you are being trained to be a master of both. The lessons are not just physical, they are psychological. You are taught that fear is a choice. Pain is an illusion. The only thing that matters is the mission. You are taught that the greatest honor you can have is to die in battle with your shield. To abandon your shield is to abandon your comrades, and to abandon your comrades is to abandon your soul. You are given a shield, and you are told, come back with it or on it. It is a simple motto, but it is a code that you will live by for the rest of your life. This phase of your training is the culmination of everything you have learned. The endurance of the cold and hunger, the mastery of pain, the cunning of the wolf. All of these skills are being honed, sharpened, and forged into a single cohesive purpose: to be a soldier. You are no longer just a boy. You are a weapon, a living, breathing, thinking weapon. And you are a part of the most feared military force in the history of the world. You have become a part of the machine. Your body is a weapon, your mind is a tool, and you are a single, indispensable piece of the phalanx. But there is one final test, a whispered secret that haunts the barracks at night, a final hurdle that will separate the warriors from the true Spartans. It is the test of the krypteia. The name itself in Greek means the secret thing, or the hidden thing. This is not a test for all of you. It is a test for the best, for the most cunning, for the most ruthless. The selection for the krypteia is not a punishment. It is an honor. It's a bit like being chosen for a top-secret special forces team, but the stakes are higher and the mission is more brutal. You are taken from your pack, from your dormitory, and you are given nothing. No food, no cloak, no shield. Only a short dagger, the Xiphos, and you are sent out into the countryside into the dead of night to survive on your own. You are a ghost, an invisible hunter, and a terrifying force of nature. This is the common historical fact about the Cryptaia. It was a secret final rite of passage for the most promising Spartan youths. Their mission was to terrorize the Helot population to kill any who they found in their path. It was a tool of state terror, a way of reminding the vast and restive Helot population that they were always being watched, always being hunted. This is a very dark part of Spartan history, a brutal and unforgiving test of a boy's readiness to become a man. You are no longer just a hunter. You are a killer, and you are being trained to kill in cold blood without a second thought. The night is cold and unforgiving. You are alone, and the silence is a living thing. Your training has prepared you for this moment. Your feet, now as tough as leather, make no sound on the rocky ground. Your body, hardened by years of hunger and pain, is a machine that can go for days without food. Your senses, sharpened by the need to find food and avoid capture, are on high alert. You are a single powerful entity, a one-man army, and you are here to prove that you can survive alone without the pack, without the comfort of your comrades. The mission is simple: survive. You must live off the land, finding food where you can, drinking from the streams. But your real mission, the secret mission, is to instill fear in the Helots. You are told to kill any Helot you find, to strike without warning, and to disappear into the night without a trace. The purpose is not to start a war. The purpose is to end one before it begins. It is a way of showing the Helots that their rebellion will be met with a swift and brutal response. It's a terrifying and effective way to control a population, isn't it? A bit like a very serious and very deadly game of hide-and-seek, where the hidden people never know if they are being hunted. The little-known detail about the Cryptaia is that it was not a constant, ongoing practice. Historians still debate the true nature and extent of the Cryptaia. Was it a constant presence, a form of perpetual state-sanctioned murder? Or was it an annual or semi-annual ritual, a symbolic act of terror designed to reinforce the Spartans' authority? This is the kind of academic debate that fills the quiet halls of history. For you, there is no debate. There is only the mission. There is only the cold, hard reality of the night and the terrifying knowledge that you are a killer. You move through the shadows, your eyes scanning the darkness, your ears listening for the slightest sound. The rustle of a leaf, the snap of a twig. These are not just sounds, they are clues. They tell you where your target is, where they are going, and how to get to them. You are a predator, and the world is your hunting ground. You are not a boy anymore. You are a man, and you have the skills and the courage to do what is necessary to survive. The psychological toll of the Cryptaia is profound. You are alone. The solitude is a kind of torture, a silence that is more terrifying than any war cry. You must rely on yourself and yourself alone. The years of training, the years of pain, the years of endurance, all of them have led to this moment. You are a testament to the idea that a man can be forged in a crucible of suffering and emerge as a perfect weapon. And when it is over and you return to the city, you will be a man, not a boy, a man. And you will have earned your place in the phalanx, the legendary fighting force of Sparta. You return from the dark, from the loneliness of the countryside, and the secret, terrifying test of the Cryptaia. You are no longer just a boy. You have been tested in a way that most people will never understand. You have survived. You have hunted. You have learned to be alone and to be a killer. Now you return to the city for the final and most important test of all. Not a test of strength or a test of cunning, but a test of acceptance. You must prove that you are worthy not just of being a warrior, but of being a Spartiate, a full citizen of Sparta. The final physical test is brutal. A simulation of a battle, a grueling test of endurance that pushes your body to its absolute limits. You and your comrades are pitted against each other, a last chance to prove your mettle. Your body is a machine and you put it through its paces. You run until your lungs burn, you fight until your muscles ache, and you endure until your spirit is exhausted. This is the last time you will be a boy. This is the last time you will be tested as a recruit. When it is over and you are standing battered and bruised but still standing, you know that you have passed. You are ready for the next step. The next step is the most nerve-wracking of all. It is the ritual of the syzygia, the communal dining clubs. This is the common historical fact that defines Spartan citizenship. To become a full Spartiate, a man with a voice in the assembly, a man with the right to own land, you must be voted into one of these dining clubs. It is a very strict and very serious process. You are not a citizen just because you are born one. You are a citizen because you have earned it. And the men who will vote on your fate are the veterans, the older warriors, the men who you have looked up to your entire life. The night of the vote arrives and the air is thick with tension. You have been nominated by a mentor, a senior warrior who believes in you. You walk into the dining hall, a place you have only seen from a distance. It is a simple room with long wooden tables. The men are sitting at the tables, their faces weathered and stern. You are told to walk around the room and to not speak a single word. Your silence is a sign of your discipline, your humility. They are judging you on your presence, on the way you carry yourself, on the man you have become. The vote is a simple but terrifying process. There is a jar in the center of the table, and each man is given a piece of bread. They are told to take a small piece of bread and to put it in their hand. If they want you to be accepted, they will put a piece of the bread in the jar. If they do not, they will crush the bread in their hand and put their closed fist in the jar. The sight of a clenched fist is a terrifying one. It means that you are not accepted. The vote must be unanimous. A single no is enough to reject you. The tension is palpable. Your entire life, your entire training, your entire purpose has led to this moment, and a single clenched fist can end it all. This is a little-known detail that is truly terrifying about this process. The voting was done with bread, but later it was done with white and black beans. A single black bean hidden in the jar was enough to end a boy's career, to end his dreams, to send him into a life of second-class citizenship. This simple, cruel, and terrifying system was a testament to the fact that the Spartans valued consensus above all else. They did not want a single dissenting voice. They wanted a unified front, a unified spirit. It's a bit like a very high-stakes version of a fraternity hazing, but with much more serious consequences. A bit of an academic debate among historians is whether the Syzygia was a truly democratic institution, or if it was a way for the elite to maintain their grip on power by controlling who was accepted into the clubs. Was it a way of giving the people a voice, or a way of making sure that only the right people were in the room? For you, there is no debate. There is only the bread, the clenched fists, and the knowledge that your fate is in the hands of the men you have spent your life trying to impress. And then the vote is over. The jar is opened. You are holding your breath, and you are told the result. If you are accepted, you are a Spartiate. You are a man. You are a citizen. You are a member of the most exclusive and terrifying club in the history of the world. You have a seat at the table. You have a voice in the assembly. You have the right to be a part of the greatest fighting force in the world. And you have the right to be buried with a wreath of olive leaves, a symbol of your courage and your sacrifice. The feeling is one of profound relief and overwhelming pride. You have done it. You have survived the agoge. You have passed the final test. You are no longer a boy. You are a man of the shield. You have a purpose, a place in the world, and a family that is larger than the one you were born into. You have a home in the city, a place at the table, and a life that is defined by honor, duty, and sacrifice. You have passed the final tests. You are a Spartiate, a full citizen of Sparta. You have a seat at the table, a voice in the assembly, and the honor of being a man of the shield. But this is not the end of your journey. It is a new beginning, a new phase of a life that is defined by discipline, sacrifice, and duty. The agoge has ended, but the training never truly stops. Your life is not your own anymore. It belongs to the state, and every moment of every day is dedicated to serving it. Your life is a constant routine. You still live in the barracks even though you are now a man. You still wake up before dawn. You still train every day, honing your skills with the spear and the shield. The drills are more complex now, the formations more intricate, but the purpose is the same: to be a perfect unified force. The men you train with are no longer just your comrades. They are your brothers. They are the men you will fight with, die with, and be remembered with. The bond you forged in the agoge has only grown stronger. It is a bond of shared sacrifice, a silent understanding that you would die for each other without a second thought. This is the common historical fact that defined Spartan life even after they graduated from the agoge. Spartan men continued to live in the barracks and train together. They were in essence a standing army always ready for war. The discipline of their youth was a permanent fixture of their adulthood. There were no weekends, no holidays, no days off. Every single day was a day of training, a day of preparing for the inevitable war that was always on the horizon. It's a life that seems almost impossibly severe to a modern person. A life that is so completely dedicated to a single purpose that there is no room for anything else. And yet there are the women. They are a fascinating and unique part of Spartan society. They are not like other Greek women who were confined to the home and were not educated. Spartan women were educated, they were physically trained, and they were given a great deal of freedom. They were the mothers of warriors, and their purpose was to produce strong, healthy sons for the state. They were treated with great respect, and they were known for their wit, their intelligence, and their strength. They would mock their husbands if they returned from a battle with a shield, but without an enemy's head. Their famous motto was, "Come back with your shield or on it." It was a motto that was not just a saying, it was a philosophy. The little-known detail about Spartan life is the strange and ritualistic nature of their weddings. When a man was to be married, he would have to kidnap his bride. She would have her hair shaved short, and she would wear a man's clothes. This was a symbolic act, a way of showing that she was ready to be a warrior's wife, a woman who could endure hardship and raise a warrior son. The marriage was not a romantic union, it was a pragmatic arrangement for the good of the state. Even after they were married, the men would still live in the barracks and they would only visit their wives in secret, in the dark of the night. It's a very strange and almost romantic notion, isn't it? A bit like a secret love affair, but with a very public and political purpose. A bit of an academic debate among historians is whether the Spartan women were truly liberated or if their freedom was simply a tool for the state to produce better warriors. For you, there is no debate. You know that a strong woman is a necessity. A woman who can raise a strong son is a treasure, and your wife is a partner in your purpose, not a distraction from it. And then there's the food. You still eat in the communal dining hall, the Cecilia, but the food is better now. It's not a feast, but it's more nourishing than the black broth of your youth. The company is better too. You are surrounded by men who have been through the same crucible as you have. You eat with men who have fought in wars, who have killed, and who have seen things that you can only imagine. The conversation is not about gossip or poetry. It is about war, about tactics, about honor, and about duty. It is the conversation of men who have a single unified purpose. Your life is a living testament to the Spartan ideals. Simplicity, discipline, and a complete lack of comfort. You do not own property, you do not accumulate wealth, and you do not indulge in luxury. Your purpose is not to live a comfortable life. Your purpose is to be a warrior, to be a defender of the state, and to be an example to the young men who are still in the agoge. You are a walking, breathing monument to the Spartan way of life. Your training is complete. Your life is set. You are a Spartiate, a man of the shield, a member of the most feared fighting force in the world. But your journey is not just a personal one. It is a living, breathing testament to a legend. The world now looks at you not just as a man, but as a symbol. A living embodiment of everything that is disciplined, powerful, and utterly ruthless. You are the Spartan, and the weight of that legacy is a heavy burden, but it is also a source of immeasurable pride. The other Greek city-states, the Athenians, the Corinthians, they do not see you as a man. They see a phalanx, a living wall of spears and shields. They know your reputation for discipline, for courage, for an almost inhuman ability to endure. They have heard the stories of your training, the stories of the black broth, the beatings, the endurance. They know that you are not like them. You are a different kind of human, a different kind of warrior. Your reputation is a weapon in and of itself. Before a battle has even begun, the enemy knows they are facing not just a man, but a legend. The common historical fact that defines this stage of your life is the Spartan military's reputation as the most disciplined and effective fighting force in the Greek world. This reputation was not just a myth. It was earned on countless battlefields. It was earned by your predecessors, and you are expected to live up to it. You are a part of a long and bloody lineage of warriors who never retreated, who never surrendered, and who never showed a hint of weakness. You are a living testament to the Spartan way of life. The psychological weight of this is immense. You are expected to be perfect. There is no room for fear, no room for doubt. You are a living example of courage. You are a walking, breathing monument to the idea that a man can be forged in a crucible of suffering and emerge as a perfect weapon. This is the truth of your life. Every single moment of it, from your birth to your death, it is a part of a much larger narrative. You are not just living a life, you are living a legacy. And what about your life itself? It is not your own. It is a part of the city. Your children are not your own. They belong to the city. Your purpose is not your own. It is to serve the city. This is the final and most profound lesson of the agoge. You are nothing. The city is everything. You are a single piece of the machine, a single shield, a single spear, and your purpose is to ensure that the machine is strong, that it is unbreakable, that it is unbeatable. The little-known detail about this is that the Spartans lived their lives according to the Great Retra, a constitution that was not written down but passed down orally from one generation to the next. This constitution was said to have been given by the Oracle of Delphi, a divine decree that dictated every aspect of Spartan life, from the way they dressed to the way they raised their children, to the way they fought their wars. It was a living, breathing document that was not written in stone but in the hearts and minds of every Spartan man. Historians still debate the true reasons for Sparta's eventual decline. Was it due to their rigid social system, a declining population? Or was it simply a natural consequence of a world that was changing around them? This is the kind of academic debate that fills the quiet halls of history. For you, there is no debate. You only know the weight of your shield, the weight of your purpose, and the knowledge that your life is a part of a legend. You are a man who has mastered his body, his mind, and his spirit. You have conquered pain, hunger, and fear. You have become a living weapon, a perfect instrument of war. And you have done it all for a single purpose, to serve the state. You are a testament to the idea that a man can be forged in a crucible of suffering and emerge as a perfect warrior. Your story is not just your own. It is the story of Sparta. It is the story of a legend.